Looking for a good action movie without paying for another streaming service? Tubi has a surprisingly strong lineup right now, with everything from old-school action classics to big Hollywood blockbusters. So if you want car chases, shootouts, spies, assassins, and movies that actually keep moving, here are 10 of the best action movies you can watch on Tubi right now. Starting off our list at number 10 is XXX. Before Vin Diesel became permanently attached to Fast and Furious, he played Xander Cage, an extreme sports athlete who gets recruited by the government for a dangerous undercover mission. The whole movie feels like someone took a spy thriller and turned the volume all the way up. There are motorcycles, explosions, ridiculous stunts, and plenty of early 2000s attitude. It definitely knows what kind of movie it is, and that is part of the fun. If you want something loud, fast, and easy to watch, XXX still delivers. At number 9 is Jack Reacher, Never Go Back. Tom Cruise returns as Jack Reacher, the former military investigator who always seems to walk directly into trouble. This time he gets caught in a conspiracy involving the military and has to uncover what is really happening while staying ahead of the people hunting him. It is more straightforward than the first Jack Reacher movie, with a bigger focus on fights and chase scenes. Cruise carries the movie well, and the story moves quickly enough that there is rarely much downtime. It is a solid choice if you like military thrillers mixed with old-fashioned action. At number 8 is Death Wish. Bruce Willis plays a surgeon whose life completely changes after his family becomes the victim of a violent attack. Frustrated with how little progress the police are making, he decides to take justice into his own hands. The movie is dark, direct, and much more brutal than a typical revenge thriller. Willis is quieter here than in many of his older action roles, which actually works because the character starts as an ordinary man who slowly becomes someone very different. The story is simple, but once the revenge angle kicks in, the movie knows exactly where it wants to go. Number 7 is Colombiana. Zoe Saldana plays Catalea, a highly skilled assassin who has spent years preparing to avenge the murder of her parents. What makes Colombiana fun is how quickly it establishes who she is and what she can do. Catalea is patient, smart, and extremely dangerous when she needs to be. The action has a slick style without becoming too complicated, and Saldana brings enough personality to make the character more than just another unstoppable assassin. If you enjoy revenge movies with stealth, gunfights, and a strong lead performance, this one is worth checking out. At number 6 is Transformers. The first live-action Transformers movie still holds up as a huge piece of blockbuster entertainment. Shia LaBeouf plays Sam Witwicky, a teenager who suddenly finds himself in the middle of a war between the Autobots and Decepticons. The setup is simple, but once the robots arrive, Michael Bay goes all in. The effects were impressive when the movie came out, and many of them still look great today. The final stretch turns into a massive battle filled with destruction and military action. Later Transformers movies became bigger and crazier, but the original has a balance that makes it easier to enjoy from beginning to end. Halfway through the list at number 5 is Looper. Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays Joe, a hitman working in a future where criminals send people back through time to be killed. The system works until Joe discovers that his next target is his older self, played by Bruce Willis. From there, the movie becomes a mix of science fiction, crime thriller, and action. Looper is a little slower and more thoughtful than some of the other movies here, but when the action hits, it hits hard. The time travel idea also gives the story something different, especially once both versions of Joe start fighting for completely different futures. At number 4 is Point Break. Keanu Reeves plays an FBI agent investigating a group of bank robbers who may also be connected to the local surfing scene. That leads him to Bodhi, played by Patrick Swayze, a charismatic surfer who lives for danger. Point Break has become a classic because it is more than just cops chasing criminals. There is a strange friendship at the center of the movie that keeps pulling the characters closer even when you know everything is going to fall apart. The surfing, skydiving, robberies, and chase scenes give it plenty of energy, and the chemistry between Reeves and Swayze is still the main reason the movie works so well. Number 3 is Lethal Weapon. Mel Gibson and Danny Glover play two detectives who could hardly be more different. Martin Riggs, is unpredictable and reckless, while Roger Murtaugh is an experienced cop who would really prefer his life to be a little quieter. Putting them together creates one of the most famous action partnerships in movie history. The movie has great chemistry, sharp humor, and action that feels rougher than what you usually see in modern blockbusters. It also takes its characters seriously enough that you actually care what happens to them. Decades later, Lethal Weapon is still one of the best examples of the buddy cop formula done right. At number 2 is The Equalizer. Denzel Washington plays Robert McCall, a quiet man living a very controlled life who turns out to have an extremely dangerous past. After someone he cares about is hurt by Russian criminals, he decides to get involved. From that point on, the people coming after him slowly realize they picked the wrong man. Denzel is perfect in this role because McCall never needs to act tough. He stays calm, watches everything around him, and then ends a fight before the other person understands what happened. The movie takes its time building tension, which makes the violent moments feel even stronger when they arrive. And taking the number 1 spot is Mission Impossible. The movie that launched one of the biggest action franchises ever still feels surprisingly different from the sequels. Tom Cruise stars as Ethan Hunt, an IMF agent who becomes the main suspect after a mission goes horribly wrong. With his own agency hunting him, Ethan has to figure out who betrayed the team and prove he was set up. The first Mission Impossible leans heavily into espionage, deception, and suspense, but it still gives you several unforgettable action scenes. The CIA vault sequence alone became one of the most recognizable moments in the entire franchise. Add the train finale, the twists, and a younger Tom Cruise already throwing himself into dangerous situations, and you have an action movie that still works 30 years later. So that is our list of 10 of the best action movies you can watch on Tubi right now. Let me know which movie you would put at number 1, and if there is another great Tubi action movie that deserves to be on the list, drop it in the comments. And if you want more streaming recommendations like this, subscribe for the next countdown.